generally comes out of the bank account, so we'll set the master account to that of our bank account, which is 3010. The batch number we'll select is batch number 3, which corresponds to bank-related transactions, and the period is for period 1. In this case, we're going to record a rental of $500, which the bank account, account number for rental is 9010000, and the payment voucher is reference is 001. And the description is that of our master account, which is the UMBC bank account, and for a debit amount of $500. Now you'll notice additional information at the bottom here. UPS has got a print payment voucher function that you can use to automatically print your payment voucher. To use the function, you need to specify additional information like who the payment is being made to, and the purpose of the payment, and the check number. Alternatively, you can also specify your check number under the second line of your description. When it's completed, you press Save. Now we'll enter another transaction for salary for the amount of $800. In this case, the account number is 9040000, and the payment reference is payment voucher 002. And we'll change the check number to UMBC 13901, and in this case it's a debit amount of $800. And again, for the payment voucher purpose, we'll indicate the payment is to Mr. YYY for the purpose of salary, and the check number is 13901. And when it's completed, you press Save. Now once you've entered the transaction, you can verify the detail that you've entered by doing a print of your trial balance. So you're going to Report and select Trial Balance. For the period, in this case, is January. Now here you notice the amount that we've entered so far, which was a total of $3,000, which is owing to both our debtor, which is Centronic and United Company, and a purchase of $1,100 from Key & Son and Wisma Company, and a payment of $500 on rental and $800 on salary, giving a total balance of $5,400. To demonstrate data entry using the add transaction method of data entry, we'll use the following example transactions. In this case, one payment voucher has been issued for payment to both rental and salary. There will be 3 transactions involved. A credit from the bank for $3,000, against which there is a debit to the rental account for $1,200, and a debit to the salary account for $1,800. To use the Add a Transaction function, select the Add option on the menu, and you're now ready to add a transaction. In this case, we'll select batch number 3 to correspond to our bank transaction for the month of January. Now we're going to be adding 3 transactions: a credit of $3,000 against the bank account, and a debit of $1,200 against the rental account, and $1,800 against the salary account. We'll create the first one first, which is for 31st of January 1999 for our bank account credit. In this case, the payment voucher reference is 003, and the description is for rental and salary. And we'll enter the check number here, which is 13902, and a credit amount of $3,000. For purpose of payment voucher, we'll enter the detail as bank payment to Mr. Developer and Mr. YYY for the purpose of rental and salary. And the check number is UMBC 13902. When it's completed, press Save. Now, the second transaction is against the rental account, which is 9010000. Now retain the same payment voucher because it's of the same payment. In this case, the description is from bank UMBC account. For the same check reference, in this case it's a debit amount of $1,200. And save. The third transaction is against the salary account. Again, the same payment voucher reference. In this case, the same description, but for a debit amount of $1,800. Now, once you've entered all the detail, you can go and verify the information by looking at the View Ledger option under the reports. Now, the View Ledger options allows you to specify the period, which in this case we'll leave it as period number 1, but we'll look at the bank account ledger first. Now, it shows you a list of all the movements that's in and out of the account for the period of January. Now, as you notice, this is the last transaction that we've entered for rental and salary against check number 13902, payment voucher 3, for a total amount of $3,000. And you also notice that those were the 2 early transactions that we've entered using the quick entry method. Likewise, to view the salary account 9040, this is a list of all the payment that's made on salary by the bank, and this is the last one that we've just entered for $1,800. Congratulations! You now know how to batch transactions, and you also know the 2 ways to enter transaction in UB.